Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a new at the drugstore video. So this is going to be a full face tutorial, just kind of an everyday look using some really great new launches or just some new products from the drugstore that I've been using, and I've used them all multiple times. So I have a few tips and tricks on the way I like to use these specific products. So, okay, I've got you nice and zoomed in. So we're gonna start off with a primer. This is the Power Grip Primer from e.l.f. This is honestly like Milk Hydro Grip. It's a very similar formulation. It's a little bit more tacky than e.l.f.'s Jelly Pop, and I really like how it gives you this slick, almost like sticky but slick feeling base. It just makes makeup last so much longer. I really like it under the eyes. There's like that stickiness to the product, which I really like. This is obviously a much more affordable option than Hydro Grip, and you still get all that really nice benefit of that like anchor that's going to keep the makeup in place for as long as possible. The other primer I've been trying is from NYX. This is the Marshmallow Primer. This one's a little bit more similar to, if you remember, Angel Veil. It kind of has that same formula where it's this light whipped consistency. Obviously it looks really white on the skin, but the more you blend it in, it's going to be a little bit less apparent. This is going to be better for people that have oily skin or a lot of texture on the pores. So for someone like me, I prefer to use this as more of a targeted primer where my pores are the most visible, and I feel like makeup tends to almost like go on top and leave those little visible kind of craters where the pores are. So this is definitely more geared towards actively smoothing and filling in textured spots so that when you do apply makeup, it lays on top a lot softer. So I would recommend a primer like this more where you have that problem textured skin. I also have really been liking the Maybelline 4-in-1 Perfector in the shade Light. I do like the shade that matches my skin tone more accurately, but I like using this one as more of an illuminating highlighter. It's really nice and sheer, and you can see this is obviously way too light for me to put all over my entire face, but what I really like doing is just applying it to the high points and a little bit under the eyes as well, just for some added brightness. And it just is one of those really nice products that gets all of the light to bounce off of the high points of the face and can just give you some brightening under the eyes as well, which I personally really like. And it's really soft and sheer, you can see that. I almost honestly feel like this light shade is a little bit more flattering of a pearl than the tan one. It could just be in my head, but I feel like the tan one has a lot more noticeable flecks of glitter. It's a little bit more of a sparkly effect, whereas this one's a little bit more of a soft, consistent pearl. This is from Morphe too, and I'm actually really starting to like this line from Morphe. It's the Hint Hint Skin Tint, and it's a very fluid, lightweight tint. What I like to do is actually just pop it into the palm of my hand so I have a little bit more control. If you put it on the top of your hand, it tends to run around a lot. It's very watery. It's probably the wateriest skin tint I've ever tried. I like to completely pick it up with my sponge so that I can use the sponge almost like a little cushion when I'm applying it. And it just gives you a hint of coverage, but it's perfect for every day, and it's a little bit more of a satin finish. So here's one light layer. I'm gonna show you how we can build this up because it does actually have the capability of building up to a more noticeable amount of coverage. Again, just loading up my sponge on the back of my hand, and you can see going in with that second layer, that hyperpigmentation is significantly less noticeable. And I really do take the time to build it up on the cheek area because that's where I have the most discoloration and hyperpigmentation, and I feel like that's just where my base tends to need a little bit of extra help. This is a new concealer that I've been pleasantly surprised by. It's from Revlon. It's called the Skin Awaken 24-Hour Concealer. So this one actually comes with a doe. Okay, great, I got concealer on my sweater. And usually those 24-hour products are really hard to get out of clothing, so I'm gonna have to spot treat that as soon as I'm done filming this. Anyway, this comes with a doe foot applicator, which typically I don't like because I feel like oftentimes products with these doe foots are put on things that are a little bit too thick, and it just makes the product hard to manipulate and use. Whereas this one is creamy and fluid enough that the doe foot actually works really well with this product. So you just give the tube like a little squeeze because a lot will come out. And then I'll just lightly tap this on. For being a 24-hour concealer, I was honestly so happy with how radiant this looks, and it's also pretty lightweight. So you can see that looks like I'm using a lot of concealer, but you'll see once I blend it out with my fingers, it's one of those concealers that just melts into your skin, and it has this really, really pretty light reflective quality to it, which I love because I think that just gives you that really nice, like almost youthful looking under eye. And I would say because of that, it's not my favorite for any active or raised blemish on the skin. But any type of like hyperpigmentation or darkness, just discoloration, it's really great for those types of spots. And you can see, look how it just like melts in with my fingers. It's so beautiful. This formula is so elegant, and it's just like one of my favorite concealer formulas. And I will say another really nice thing about this concealer, even though it's a little bit more on the creamy side, it has very consistent wear. I really don't feel like you need to use a powder with it because it is one of those nice concealers that does dry down a little bit more on the powder finish, so it tends to set itself. If you're a little bit more oily or you're really concerned with longevity, perhaps put some powder on it, but otherwise I really don't think that it needs a powder to do its job. I'm just gonna set the eyelids down a bit. I'm gonna use this single shadow from L'Oreal. This is in the shade Matte Chill. And I'm just gonna set that concealer down a bit so that when I go in with my other eyeshadows, I don't have any creasing or clinging in certain spots. I'm gonna use this clapback palette from Revlon, but I'm actually going to use my finger to apply the shades. So I pick up the colors like this because there's actually a decent amount of fallout with these eyeshadows. And I'm just gonna lightly press that onto the eyelid. This is a really pretty cool toned smoky color. It's not as shimmery as it looks in the pan, if that makes sense. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not super great at finagling this formula to do exactly what I want. So then I just go back in with my fluffy brush to help diffuse those shadows out a bit. I'm gonna take the LA Girl Lasting Brown Eyeliner, smudge this right into the top lash line, all the way from the inner corner to the outer corner. Just go back in with my brush, do a little smudging, and then take that dark shade once again and put it on top so I can intensify that shadow. And of course, we always smudge. And I'm gonna take a clean blending brush to just soften the edges of the shadow. Again, just so there's nothing harsh. And then I'm gonna take that taupe shade. We're gonna pop that right on the inner half of the eyelid, just for a little sparkle. And just blend it out into the crease a little bit, just in the front half though. I do wish that this eyeshadow palette had like one matte shade in it, but we can make it work. We'll just take a little bit of bronzer. And I'm just gonna use that right in this part of the eye, just to help add a little bit of definition without it being like too shimmery back there. I'm gonna take the M537 from Morphe and just lightly smudge that charcoal color along the lower lash line, just to smoke it out a bit without it being like too intense and overdone. And always try to get this outer corner too, just to connect the top lash line and the lower lash line. I don't know if this is what this function of the sponge is for, but it has this almost like tacky rubberized bit on the end. And that's what I wanted to show you, because I was saying those Revlon shadows have a lot of fallout. You just push it under the eye and it's almost like it picks up excess fallout because it's sticky. We'll move into bronzer, because with these cool toned eyeshadows, we do need to warm up the face. This is the Undone Beauty Water Bronzer and Highlight. As you can tell, the highlight is right up on the bronzer, so you need to be a little bit more strategic with the way that you know, apply them, and you don't want to use a brush that's too big. And I'm basically just going to start around the perimeter of my face and pull it into the center. Just a little bit to get some color on the cheeks. The highlight on this palette is so pretty. One's a little bit more yellow toned and then one's a little bit more rosy gold. So I actually just mix the two together. Kind of go back and forth between them. You can take the back of your hand to also like mix the two powders together. And then just lightly on the high points. And look at that. It's honestly really similar to that Pixie Glowy Gossamer. But I think this shade is a little bit prettier than those because it's a lot softer of a color. It's not quite as gold. Take a little bit of the two, just like this, on my finger, and then pop that right on the inner corner of the eye. Ooh, and a little bit to highlight the brow bone. I haven't tried it as a brow bone highlight yet, but does the job for sure. I actually have two new products from ColourPop that I'm really excited about. The first one is the Sticks blush. I've never used this before. I feel like I was so ColourPop centric for such a long time that I was just using so much ColourPop, and then I kind of stopped using it for a while, and now it's been a couple years and I've not tried many things from them, so I'm excited because I really like this blush. I feel like they also put weight in this blush because it definitely feels like really heavy in the hand. It's noticeably really weighty. So this one is in 258, if I didn't mention that already. You can apply this directly to the face, but what I like to do is take the little product and pick it up on a brush so that you get something that looks like that. You can see there's a little bit of pink on there. And then I just like to lightly tap this into the skin. And yes, I'm going on top of powder, but I have not had any issues with this cream blush picking up powder or causing patchiness. I'm also using a brush that's really nice and loose. This is a Sephora 55, and it just evenly places that little bit of blush right on the cheek without disrupting the base. And this is such a pretty everyday color. I'm really starting to get into pink blushes. I think they're really flattering. I used to be afraid of pinks and I would only wear nudes. But there's something about that one that I really like. So the product that I'm really excited about is the ColourPop Clear Feather Effect Styling Wax. Take a little bit of setting spray or whatever. You can use water if you wish. I'm gonna use the glass setting spray from Maybelline. Just spray that directly into the little pots. I'm gonna take a spoolie. This one's from PYT. This is a noticeably more firm wax than some of the other ones I've used, so it does take a little bit of elbow grease to get this out, and the first few runs are actually kind of chunky. I just want to say that. But then once you break that, it's a nice wax. It's not my Anastasia Brow Freeze by any means, but it is a good brow wax nonetheless. I like something that's a little bit more intense of holds because I have really thick, wiry brows. But you can see I still, because mine's relatively new, I still get these random chunks in my spoolie. And with this one, because I do have to press a little bit harder, I like to do brow gel first and then go in with my pencil. I'm using that one from PYT, which I actually really like. Performs really well with this product specifically because this pencil is very waxy. I mentioned that in my Best of Drugstore 2021. This has a really waxy formula, so it just seems to be the perfect brow pencil for this product. I'm gonna throw a little bit of lip liner on. This is a new one from e.l.f. It's the e.l.f. Love Triangle Lip Filler Liner, specifically the one in the shade light brown. I feel like it's the most flattering for my skin tone. And obviously with the brown shade, you have a better, like an easier time doing a little bit more of an exaggerated overline. I'm gonna give my lashes a little curl. This is the Tweezerman Lash Curler. I really like this one. For mascara, I'm gonna use the Lift and Define 5D Extra Dimension Mascara from Revolution Beauty. I am genuinely really liking this brand. The more that I try from Revolution, the more that I really like. And this mascara, I feel like, gives you this almost like soft, bouncy lash. And I love the way the brush gives you wispiness too. And it's pretty dramatic, which I like. I like a more dramatic mascara because, you know, I don't really wear false lashes ever. And if I do wear false lashes, it's just those little like single cluster lashes. I don't really like strip lashes because I feel like they do look a little bit wonky on my small eyes. And if I can get the effect of a strip lash from mascara, it's really like the best of both worlds for me because it just looks more natural. Because, you know, those bands on strip lashes, they tend to like close up my eye. I mean, look at that. It looks so good. Really nice, perfect to pair with a smoky look because it makes the lashes hold their own against a more smoky eyeshadow look so that you don't have your eyelashes completely disappear. For lips, I am obsessed with this. This is the Glow Paradise Beige Eden kind of like lip gloss lipstick from L'Oreal. So on its own, it's this really pretty like soft tinted lip. You can still see a little bit of my natural lip color peeking through, so it doesn't completely nude you out. And I really like how it has a little bit of shine to it, but I want to pump that up a bit, and I have been loving these from L'Oreal. This is the L'Oreal Feathery Fleur, or it might just be Feathery. Fleur might be the French name. So I just put that right on top, and this just gives it a lot more of a gloss. But the two pair together so pretty, and they make a really nice everyday lip color. And then I'm gonna finish off the look with the e.l.f. Stay All Day Blue Light Micro Setting Mist. I love the e.l.f. Stay All Day Setting Mist. This one's supposed to give you some blue light defense. But this is just a really nice makeup setting spray that's gonna take away anything that looks a little bit too powdery, and it's just gonna make the makeup look a little bit more fused with your skin. But it's totally not like anything that's gonna make you look really dewy. It also, I have to give it to e.l.f. Their micro spray setting mist, they have one of the best nozzles on these products. They really just gives you this nice uniform mist. If you liked this style of video where it's not just a full-on me talking about products and doing little clips of demos, and you liked more of like a tutorial style review, let me know, leave a comment, because I can definitely incorporate more of these into content for this year. But sometimes you just have to have enough products to do a video like this, whereas, you know, sometimes I like doing those roundups because those are also really fun to film for me. Those are some of my favorite videos. But I had a lot of fun filming this one, and if you have any questions about any of these products, you can leave them in the comments down below. Other than that, I will list and link all of them in the description box, as well as have the specific shades to the product. I think that's everything I wanted to mention. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye everyone.